Hi, I'm Isabel Rittenberry. Here's my note card with my name on it, same as the last video. I just have the list of bone structures here on the whiteboard that were allowed. And then I have my little friend, the skeleton here. My roommate and I decided to name him Jeremy. So this is Jeremy, who I will be demonstrating all the bones on. And so I'm going to go through the axial skeleton first. So first, starting from the top, we have the skull, which is considered a flat bone here. And the flat bones are going to be connected by sutural bones. Sorry, I don't know why my computer froze. So sutural bones, which is going to connect the flat bones. And the flat bone is what makes up the cranium. So there's going to be the frontal bone here, kind of like the forehead area, the ethmoid bone here, which is a pneumatized bone. It's like a little bit airy, spongy looking like, which is going to be right here. Ooh. And then we have the parietal bone, which is going to be right here, kind of like the top portion here behind the frontal lobe. The temporal lobe, I kind of think of it like where the ears are with temporal here. So that's going to be this portion right here. And then the sphenoid bone is going to be kind of like right above the ear. So like it's above the temporal, but above the ear. And then the occipital bone is going to be all the way back here. And again, all of these are going to be considered a flat bone. And then we have the face here. And then we have associated bones, which is going to be the auditory ocelus, which is going to be what makes up the ear. And then we have the hyoid bone, which is going to be right where the throat is. So it's going to be, as the diagram in the textbook showed, it's going to be like right here. And then we move on to the thoracic cage. So that's going to be considered the sternum, which is going to be this sword-looking like thing here. And that's going to connect all of the ribs. And then we have flipping him back, the thoracic vertebrae, which is going to be here. The thoracic vertebrae is going to be considered a irregular bone because it's irregularly shaped, but it is a solid bone. It's like not spongy. The sternum is going to be considered a flat bone because it's smooth and long, and it's not rounded like a long bone would be. That's why this isn't a long bone. And then all of the ribs are considered long bones as well. And then we have the lumbar vertebrae here, which is going to be essentially where like the S1, S2 vertebrae is going to be, and that's going to be consisted of the sacrum, which is right here, and the coccyx, which is going to be this pointy bone right here. The sacrum and the coccyx I would consider irregular bones as well because they're not nicely shaped. And then moving on to the appendicular skeleton, we have the pectoral girdle, which is kind of like this section here. We have the clavicle, which is known as like the shoulder bone. That's going to be right here at the top. And then we have the scapula, which is also known as like the chicken wings. It's going to be this portion right here. The clavicle is going to be a long bone. Scapula would be considered a flat bone, kind of like the sternum. The upper limbs here, say hi. We're going to have the humerus, which is a long bone. The radius, which is where the thumb is. So I'm trying to turn him. So it's going to be right here, a long bone. And the ulna, where the pinky is also considered a long bone. And then we have the carpal, which is kind of like the wrist. This is going to be a irregular bone, I believe, or a seismoid bone because it's rounded and smooth. So either irregular or seismoid, and then the metacarpal are going to be considered a seismoid bone, and then I'm sorry, the carpal is going to be considered a short bone, so versus a long bone here. So there's a short bone, which is going to be the carpals, and the metacarpals are also going to be short boned, and the phalanges are going to be a combination of short bones to make up all of these fingers, so the phalanges. So the hand and the wrist are considered short bones. Again, same on his left side here. And then moving on to the pelvic girdle, which is going to be here, it's essentially his hip bone, and I would consider this an irregular bone because it is irregular shape. There's no other bone similar to it in the body. And then we have this femur here, which is most definitely a long bone. Fun fact that if you break your femur, that's probably where you're going to lose like most of your blood. You have the patella, which is going to be a seismoid bone because it's rounded and smooth. And then we have the tibia, which is going to be this right here, so the thicker part of the bone. And then the fibula, which is going to be where the pinky toe is, so the thinner portion of the long bone. And then we have the tarsal, which is considered the ankle. Again, that's a short bone. The upper part here is going to be the metatarsals, and then the phalanges, which are the toes. And again, the whole foot and ankle are going to be considered of a bunch of short bones making up the foot and the ankle. And that is Jeremy here. I hope I got all of the bones. I basically just went off of the textbook and memorized where each of the structures in the bones were. And again, I just read off of the list here. It says we are allowed to just have a list, so that's what the list is. And I hope everything is okay. All right, thank you.